Welcome, everybody. Hi, I'm Amethyst Moonflower. Welcome to my channel. Sorry, I'm still making some minor adjustments here. So if you come in, just say hi, tell me where you're at in the world, what you're up to. And today is the first day of 2024, so Happy New Year to everybody around the world. And I'm super excited to be here today. I decided instead of doing a Sunday soul set that I would just wait until today because today is 1/1 of 8 year. So this year is a kind of a big year for me personally because not only is it an 8 year, because of 2024 adds up to the number 8, but it's also my 8 year because I'm turning 35 this year, so the number 8 is my 8 year, and also my destiny number is the number 8, and so I have triple 8 going on, so I'm feeling super super powerful as far as like where I'm at personally. I kind of feel like I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. I have been working my butt off, but I haven't been really showing it off to anybody. Like I've been saying, I've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes and sort of just doing my own thing and doing my planning and trying to just figure out my life and where I'm going and what I'm doing. But I sort of feel like I'm at a good point with where I want to go. I sort of have that vision that I've sort of been waiting for, that I've been praying for. Oh, and by the way, if you notice, I am missing a nail. It kind of broke off earlier this morning. I haven't had time to glue a new one on. So if you notice that, sorry about that. I just remembered. Anyway, I hope you all had a wonderful holiday, wonderful Christmas, winter solstice, Yule, whatever holiday that you celebrated, whenever you celebrated it. I hope it was great for you. I had a good one this year. I didn't get a super big Christmas myself. We didn't do a big Christmas this year, but the few things that I did get, I enjoyed and I loved. For example, my friend gave me this wonderful book stand, a hand carved wooden book stand to put my Book of Shadows on, which I totally love. And my mom also got me, a little like one of those feather writing pin sets with some ink and some nibs and a wax seal kit. And I also got this cute little tiny spoon, which actually I didn't get this for Christmas. I actually bought this a couple months ago. This is funny, cute little funny story. I bought this a couple months ago for like $5 or $6 at the mall, and I thought it was so adorable. I love this spoon so much. And I had it for like 2 days and it just came up missing. Couldn't find it anywhere. Looked up and down. I was like, what did I do with this tiny little spoon? And it just, I don't know what happened to it. And then just yesterday, I put on my bathrobe, which, mind you, I hardly ever wear my bathrobe. It's like a rarity. It's something that I forget that I have, and then sometimes randomly I'll be like, oh yeah, I have that, and then when I'm being lazy and comfy, I'll put it on. But I stuck my hand in my pocket of my robe, and my spoon was in the pocket of the robe, which I'm like, how did that get there? Honestly, like, was I wearing my robe and I stuck it in there when it came up missing? And I'm like, I don't think so because, like I said, I hardly ever wear the robe. But I'm like, I'm just going to blame it on my fairies. Anyway, my fairies must have loved the spoon, but the fairies gave it back just in time for the new year. And I love it because it's perfect for my incense jar. And for it gives out the perfect amount of blend to maintain my incense over here. So that's a nice little gift from the fairies that I got back. So I had a wonderful Christmas. Oh, and my husband, he bought me an air fryer. So now I got to figure out how to make air fryer recipes. So I have had a good Christmas this year, even though it wasn't a very big one. I feel like the things that I did get, I really enjoyed, and they were small, and I like that because I've been really trying to sort of um, declutter my home, and I really didn't want a whole lot of stuff anyway. But enough about me. Let me know how your holiday, your Christmas, winter solstice went, and what you guys are doing for the new year. Um, and 1 1, so magic 11 number. And um, I decided to come on here today just to sort of hang out with you for a little bit and to sort of talk about what I've been up to. Because, like I was saying, I have been doing a lot of behind the scenes work. And I have a lot of projects that I've been working on and that I want to finish and get things going and started with, but then a lot of things kind of been sort of, the universe has been readjusting itself a lot for me. Like, there's been very much you know, what once was is no longer, and now I'm shifting and moving into a new direction that, has a lot of open doors of opportunity, but I don't really foresee the future as clearly as I thought I did. So it's hard for me to sort of plan things out exactly how I would like them to go, but then we all know that the universe doesn't let anything ever go the way we want it to. But I have sort of, as I've been going through college and taking my business courses, I've learned some things about business, obviously, and I'm going into my next semester here in a couple of weeks. So I'm in the middle of that, winter break before I get started on my next semester, and I'm going to be doing more learning, which is great, but I've been struggling, even though I know I'm going to school for business, with what exactly do I want to do with that degree, where I want my career to be, how is it going to be utilized, and I've sort of narrowed down a few personal options that I would like to try to sort of focus on, and one of them would be maybe something like project management. I really love that idea just because that so really suits who I am. But I've been sort of utilizing project management and business related task stuff to help me really get the ball going. Sorry, my table has a slightly uneven surface. I need to fix that. So, in a sense, I've taken everything that I already know about planners and certain planner systems and what I already like and enjoy, and reintegrating that into my brand and where I want that to go, and also sort of restructuring my own functioning system to help me stay on top of projects. And so I'm very much in this space of reinventing, but also getting out of that planning stage and into execution phase. I'm getting ready to just shift myself into work mode now, because I feel like I've done just about as much planning as I could possibly do at this point with what I know, how things are going to go, and not knowing how everything is going to go still into the future, and sort of using the things that I do know how to do and to be able to accomplish what it is I want to accomplish. I kind of feel very empowered, and that number 8 has been coming in really strong. And also Saturn, it came into Pisces last year, and Saturn has been really kicking my butt. And Saturn and Neptune in my sign, it's sort of been beneficial, but then also difficult at the same time, especially with all that retrograde energy. It's been very like idealistic and, getting stuck in this like vision state, this imagination state, but Saturn wants me to be realistic about things. And so balancing, dreaming and, visualizing and imagination and believing in magic, which is very Piscean, with the structure and, hard work, get your ass in gear, reality check energy of Saturn um, coming in. And it's just, I finally feel a little bit of a breath of fresh air for myself. And I wanted to sort of show you guys what I've been up to, because this is sort of going to be the future of where I'm going. And so I love planners. I love planner systems. I love project management, business stuff. This is just my game. I'm obsessed. It's my knack, my natural gift. And along with my natural gift also being art. I am all about the art. I'm all about creation and imagination. I love things to be beautiful. I love things to be aesthetic. I love using a lot of different types of mediums, and I've been sort of diving into graphic design a little bit more as well. But for my planner, I love disc bound planners because they're flexible. Because much like my Book of Shadows, I like to be able to move things around and change things up. And so disc bound planners allow me to be able to do that. And but some of the spreads you don't get, and so I have a knack for wanting to move to bullet journaling. I love bullet journaling because I can create my own spreads. I can make what I need it to be. I can, get into it, in and out of it. But the bullet journaling is harder to keep up with. You're constantly making spreads over and over and over again. And so I've been like messing around with this concept and testing it out on myself with sort of creating bullet journal type spreads on the computer that I can print out and put into my disc bound planner. That way I don't have to constantly be redrawing the same spreads over and over and over again. While also, learning how to use certain features in Canva and Excel and things like that. So, like I said, I've been sort of just playing around with a few things, and I can't change my angle because my web camera broke, and so I can only use my phone to film, and my ring light broke, so I don't have the good lighting and all this stuff. And so that's why I'm live. I'm probably going to be doing lives for longer videos just because it's the only way that I can do it until I get new equipment. But I know we can do this together. So anyways, these ones I drew out. These are kind of like my sample ideas that I'm also using for myself. But this is like my main spread. And then like here is my year overview, 6 months. And like I said, I doodled it on it. It's fun. So I did all 12 months like that. And then I also did the moons with the dates and the times, and then planet retrogrades. And I'm showing you this now so that you can see how I sort of, decorated it with my own supplies and stuff like that. Here I have a year ahead tarot spread. I use washi tape and stickers and markers and things like that. And I went ahead and did the card pull, filled in all the information, and then I created a blank setup spread for my vision board here with more washi tape and stickers and stuff, which I was planning on filling out within the next day or so, probably today. And then also here to go along with that is a blank journaling page spread for scripting out the year ahead for your scripting journal sesh. Also planning on doing that today. And then I have goals for 2024. I got career, professional goals, school goals, financial goals, personal goals. So I got my main goals, and then a 24 and 2024 bucket list. So 24 different things that I would like to be able to do this year. I know that I'm probably not going to be able to do all of them, but I always am the type where it's like, it's not about can I or should I, could I, woulda. It's more like I want to write it down to remind myself to, make room for fun in my life and to leave room for the universe to open up opportunities for more fun and more adventure to come in. And some of them I know for sure are going to happen, but some of them may or may not happen. But I have things like visit Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. I've been talking about doing that for a few years now. Going camping. We usually go camping anyways, but I like to make it into like at least a couple of days. Visit the Logansport Water Park. Go skiing, which I have done that already before, but I want to go on a group thing and actually pay to go to like one of those like haunted asylums or something like that. That would be super fun. Go to Salem, Massachusetts for Samhain. And also Blink-182 concert, which I know that one's a given because my husband already bought the tickets. That was sort of like my early Christmas / birthday / anniversary present. I literally was so excited that I cried for like 2 days. Every time I couldn't stop thinking about it, and every time I thought about it, I literally would break out in tears. Blink-182 is my number one favorite band of all time. I've been a super fan ever since I was like, was it middle school when they sort of became a thing, big, when they became popular? Was like, the early 2000s. And all the way through high school, my whole life, I've just been a huge Blink-182 fan. And I have never been able to see them in person. And then they broke up. And then I was like, oh, I'm never going to see them. And then they got back together. And now I'm finally like, yes. My husband bought me tickets. So I'm definitely going this year. And it's going to be the best experience. And other things, like kayaking. And, map out the wild wooded trails. That's like a special trail that's around where I live. It's not really called that. That's what I call it. And I want to make like a magical map to sort of mark out certain areas in the woods that I like to go to. Anyway, and moving on, I made another spread for currently loving, which, where I can fill out movies, TV shows, music, and books that I'm reading and stuff like that. And then a highlights page where every month I can write down or put a picture in of something that, should be, that I want to remember to highlight that I did that month. Excuse me. Daily routines, morning and evening routine, and then my cleaning routine, to just sort of keep me on track with what I'm supposed to be doing on and when. And my morning routine and my evening routines are sort of like, I would say, ideal. Not necessarily I will do everything every morning in perfect order, because there's no such thing as that. But this is what I would like to see. This is what I consider like a good morning or an ideal morning, where if I can at least get half of this done would be great. You know what I mean? And the same thing with the evening. It's kind of more like reminding myself to make the evening special, because I have a tendency of not knowing how to turn off my work clock, my once I get on a project, I'll work until I exhaust myself because, ADHD and hyper focusing, I can literally work until the sun comes up sometimes. I'm such a night owl. And I have to remind myself to stop, put it away, come back to it tomorrow, and take care of yourself. The self-care. I've been really trying to remind myself self-care. And when I'm not working on a project, I'll tend to, if I'm not working, I'll binge watch TV shows or YouTube and stay up really late watching that kind of stuff and getting too much screen time instead of focusing on getting a good night's sleep and turning off the screen. So I sort of wrote out what an evening schedule would look like so that I can focus on self-care and getting away from screen time and remembering to take care of myself. And then, yeah, like the cleaning routine is just broken up into simple things for daily, and then a weekly, a monthly, and a seasonal. So, because part of my, cleaning routine is I have like a 10 to 15 minute, like pickup. And then there are certain things that have to be done every day, obviously, like dishes and cleaning the litter box. But then, like other tasks, like that are weekly, I would consider like mopping or laundry or dusting. Because in our house, we don't go through a lot of clothes. So it only takes one day to wash all of our clothes, and then maybe two when I do bedding. So it's like, for us, laundry really is just a 1 day a week type of thing. If you have a bigger family, that's different. But for us, 1 day a week is more than enough to get everything done. Same thing with like mopping. Like, we don't mop every day. We sweep, but we don't mop. We usually mop once a week, and that's fine. And then, monthly stuff is like, remembering to clean out the car and the coffee machine and stuff like that. And then the seasonal stuff is that stuff that you don't want to forget that you have to do, but you don't have to do it very often, like cleaning your windows and blinds, or, cleaning out junk drawers or baseboards and walls, that type of stuff. So just having a nice little routines list is useful for me. And then I go into January, which I already kind of started my setup for that. I haven't filled everything out here. Now, here is what I drew out for the monthly calendar. I have the moon phases on every day. I like it. It keeps me on track with a lot of the stuff that I do. And I sort of designed it, and I'll show you later, but this is like I was reminding you guys, this is sort of like a sample run. The drawn out versions in the big book is the sample of what I would like it to be. And then in here that I'll show you next is the actual printed out version of what I was trying to create. And then it goes for goals of the month. So those same goals that you said at the beginning, what are those? How are you going to break that down into smaller, more reachable goals that can turn into sort of like daily habits? What are your goals for this month in different areas? And I have like, you can either use this as a listing area or brain dump area, whatever that needs to be used for, you can use that for. And then over here we have habit trackers. I just have 4. I'm not very on habit trackers just because I always forget to fill them out. So I don't want to overwhelm myself with having like 6 or 8 habit trackers. I just need like a little spread for myself that has 4 main things that I want to track, habits that can either be related to my goals or things that I just have to remember to do. Admin work is related to, a habit that I have to force myself to remember to do when it comes to my work, and then taking my medicine every day, remembering to take my shots because I'm a type 1 diabetic, and vitamins and stuff like that. Socials, trying to remember to keep up on top of social medias, because marketing, and that's the world we live in. And then wellness, which, well, I'm very loose with wellness. I'm not a big, like, go to the gym type person, exercising serious type of person, but I do like yoga and stretching. And I do like to get a little bit of cardio in every once in a while. I do enjoy walking, hiking, riding my bike, dancing, hula hooping, like those kinds of activities. I enjoy swimming. I enjoy all kinds of getting up and moving around. But I'm not an exerciser, if that makes sense. So wellness for me is like, just, did I remember to do something today besides sit? So yeah. And then a key to help me determine if I did good or bad on that. And then here is my monthly financial spread, budget tracker. So here on this page is where this is the main breakdown, income, your fixed expenses, which is usually like your bills, things that are the same every month. And then your variable expenses, which are things that are more flexible, like gas, groceries, things like that. Savings or investments, and then the remaining balance, if you have any left over. And then I have 4 or 5 weeks. So you can break it down even further if you're living week to week, paycheck to paycheck. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. How is each week look? If you're a week to week type of person, or every other week, however often you get paid and you're living that paycheck to paycheck life, excuse me, it's nice to be able to break everything down easier as we move through the weeks. And then I have at the end here just a notes section for like reviews if you need to make any notes. And then here is a debt tracker where you can write down your debts that you're paying off, like credit cards or loans of any kind, because that is debt. And so you can write down the minimum amount that's due, how much you paid, and the remaining balance. All right. And then you can total up at the end how much, you're still in debt. And it just helps you to sort of get a nice overview of how you're doing. Oh, and then I also made a banking ledger, which I've been really trying to stay on top of this. I mean, you can find that information at your bank, and especially since I have online banking, but sometimes it's nice to, be able to write that in so that you can have that nice visual reminder of what your spending is looking like, and you can use color coding and stuff like that. Different colors for different things, whatever works for you. But yeah, I find the financial spreads very, very useful. And then here I have a monthly tarot spread. So I had the yearly tarot, but now I have a month. So my tarot spread for the month, main theme, and then week 1, 2, 3, and 4, each one card for each of the weeks. And think I'm going to be changing up a little bit of the order that these things are going to be in. But this is what I have so far. And then I have one page for each the new moon and the full moon, where you can write down the correspondences, gratitude, and your intentions for each box. So you don't have to do anything major, but it keeps you kind of like, if you're like me and you like to, do spell work, manifestation work, anything to do with working with the cycles of the universe and the moon and stuff like that. If you're here, you most likely are into those things, just because that's what I'm into and that's the kind of content that I make. But I like to have just that nice, simple, break it down so that on those months when I'm not doing so hot and I'm not in the mood to do something big and something elaborate, I can still go back to just this one page where it's like, what is the energies of this moon, what things are associated with it, so that I can sort of get an idea. What are my intentions and what am I grateful for? If those are the 3 things that I can focus on in one page, it's great. And I feel like I did something. I feel like I didn't miss anything. And I feel like leaving that space in here is good. And then, of course, you have the weekly spreads, which I designed so that, you got a couple little spaces here where you can write to do or notes, events, whatever. And then I did vertical, because vertical I find for myself to be the most efficient, especially if you're someone that does time blocking. Because if you see on here, time blocking is done best vertically because you can actually mark it out by time. Each of these lines is 12, so 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. and you can time block chunks of your day vertically along with the clock so that you can see how much space something actually takes up in your day physically. And down here, you got more boxes that you can, write whatever it is that you need to write in. If you need to write, a note or bills or track something, it's usable for whatever you need it to be used for, these extra boxes. Because, if you're time blocking here, you don't need to write in that rent is due that day because, unless you have to travel to go pay your rent, there's really no reason to write it if in a time block. You can write it down here as a note that this day is due. Or like lunch, you can write down what you plan on having for your meals or how many steps you took that day or, anything. It's just a nice little notes for that day. And so those are all the spreads that I have made out so far in here. And then, but this is the catch-all planner, and I went ahead, like I was saying, these ones were all samples of things I had drawn out, sort of getting my idea going, and then I decided to go ahead and go on the computer and digitalize them. And these I'm working on. This is not 100% done. There are edits that have to be made, so they're not ready quite yet, but they're in the process of being produced. And when they are formal, you'll be able to go onto my website and actually buy them as a digital download. But I'm printing them off so that I can see them and so that you can sort of see where I'm going with this. So this is sort of like the digital sample of what I would like it to look like. And it's very similar. It's just much cleaner, much nicer. And I went ahead and I put some stars and some galaxies in the background so it's not so plain. There's the moon calendar again. Here is the planets again. So you can see the difference between, what I've done drawing-wise versus what I've done in the digital planning sector. And I made this part like a little bit gray, slightly more gray in the areas where you write so that it pops out a little bit more up against the design in the background. And I didn't want it to be plain. I played around with the idea of keeping it plain, but I was like, I didn't want to put the extra pressure of somebody feeling like they had to decorate it, because I feel like that's one of the downfalls of bullet journaling, is that it can be so easy to want to decorate it. Like, obviously you want it to look pretty, but you don't always have time and energy to put into constantly decorating your spreads. So I sort of wanted to ease that pressure up a little bit by adding some design and adding some color to it. And if you wanted to put stickers and washi tape and color it in with markers or color pencils later and you feeling creative, you definitely can layer. I'm all about layering. I'm all about all of that. I left space for it to be done, but I also put in enough design. Here's the vision board. I put in enough design to where it took the pressure away, so that you can be inspired by what's already there. And if you're not feeling highly creative, then you don't have to do a lot of work. It's already pretty for you. Here's the goal setting and the habit trackers. Oh, wait. Oh, that's the goal setting and the 24 bucket list. So yeah, I made all these on the computer. And like I said, these are just samples that I printed out for myself to make sure that I was sizing it correctly to fit in the classic size, because this classic size is, what is it? It's 9¼ by 7 page size, and the bigger size is letter. So it's easier for me to just use letter because I don't have to cut anything to make my plans. But then when I'm testing it, I test that I'm making it in the correct size for classic, because I would like it to be available in both. And that's it for, wait, sorry, pages are stuck together. And then, yeah, the daily routines and then the cleaning routines pages. And I haven't gotten a lot of the monthlies done yet. Not all of those are done yet, but I have started playing around. And see, these ones I did print off plain with no color. And I actually took the time, because I was testing it to see what it looked like if I didn't print it with no color, if I just left it plain. Because these ones will just have plain circles. And then you can, that way it's undated. I wanted to mess around with the idea of it being undated and filling out and putting color on it yourself and see how that came out. And I liked that way too. So let me know in the comments, because this is kind of, I'm showing it to you so that you can let me know if this is something that you like, because would you rather it come with no color and no design and undated, and all you have is just the structure so that it's left open for you? Or do you like the color and the design already sort of there, so it takes that pressure away so you don't have to fill it in? And I do like undated things, because not everybody picks up a planner in January. And if you pick up a planner, say, in March or, August, I mean, most of the time they're already started, and you feel like, why am I buying a planner now if half of it I can't use because that time is already passed? And if I buy a planner for next year, next January, I still can't use it for like another 4 months. So it sort of makes you feel like you have to get a planner at the beginning of the year. Undated planners are useful for people who can pick up wherever they're at, wherever they're ready to get started on doing something like this, And then, yeah, here is the moons and those spreads. And like I said, I managed to find and create designs that match really closely to what I had already sort of hand drawn. So that was really nice. And then the weeklies I haven't printed out yet, but I already had a whole bunch of weeklies. I already bought, planner with a bunch of the whole year in weeklies. I didn't have to worry about printing any of that out. So I wasn't going to waste the ink on printing out weeklies when I have more than enough weeklies. And I don't want to show you too much because this is my personal, schedule and stuff like that. But anyways, as you can see, that's what I was talking about, how you sort of time block vertically. And you plan out your day like this, and then leaving the bottom for when you want to write down notes like rent is due, or Elaine goes back to school. My daughter goes back to school on that day. And then I also have, my bookmark, and I keep my color coding key right here. So I have all the colors that I like to use, and then I write down what that color means for my schedule. And then on the back here is another admin workflow, schedule, which probably needs updated, but then that would mean I have to change everything. And so I haven't done that yet, but I like to keep my key here in as a bookmark right next to this, and then also my workflow sort of calendar, because I don't want to have to write down every single task in every single time slot. I usually will just go, business admin and make the time slot. Project 1, time slot. YouTube live, time slot. The details are not on the calendar. It's just the label of the time slot. And then when I want to go and find out those details, that's what this planner is for. This is actually not really a planner like a calendar. This is my business project management planner book that keeps me organized with all the different things that I've been working on. And so, like, my business admin section, I don't want to show you too much here because it does have my work in it, but it has daily tasks of work that I have to do to stay on top of my business, and then tasks that I do once a week, but on what day. So, like, on Mondays is when I work on my astro reports. So I have that written down on Monday. And then on Fridays is the day that I work on my finances and my budget. So that's written there. So certain things I only do once or twice a week, I have it mapped out on the day that I do it. And then monthly tasks are things that I only do once a month. And I don't have a lot of those, but they're so that I can remember to, write those in and keep up with those. And then I have also, like I said, project management is something that may be a career opportunity, or not opportunity, but direction, I should say, that I'm really thinking about working towards. And I've been learning about GNAT graphs and GNAT graphs, however you say it, and learning how to sort of map out the time that it takes to do a certain projects, and how much time you're spending on each step of each project, and what it means to plan out projects, and having checking things off your list, making workflow task trackers, and breaking it down into step by step and checking it off when it's done. And see, that's really helpful for me. It does take time to set up the trackers. It does take quite a bit of time, but this is just me sampling it out, drawing it. I feel like it'll be a lot easier once I, make it on the computer, and then I won't have to keep remaking it all the time. But because I'm sampling it, I feel like it's okay to sort of, play around with it a little bit more and see how it functions before formally committing to a system. But I'm really liking it because I am able to be like, okay, I did that. Check it off. And I'm able to see how far along I am on completing the project. And I have 3 different projects going at the same time. I'm not maxing out on projects anymore. That was a problem that I have. Here, let me put a little bit more incense. That is an issue that I feel like a lot of people who have ADHD, and maybe not, you don't even have to have ADHD, but I know I hear this a lot, is that we have a tendency of sort of collecting projects and collecting ideas, where we are like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. Now I have another project to do. Oh, now I got to start another hobby. And then you find yourself buried in a bunch of unfinished projects. Nothing ever gets done. Everything always gets started. Nothing ever gets done. And you're just surrounded by a bunch of different things. And it's good to have interests. It's good to, be creative. But it's not good to never finish anything and to never fully execute on what it is. And so I have decided I have a master list of all of my projects that I want to do, but I'm only focusing on no more than 3 projects at a time. And I label them Project 1, Project 2, and Project 3. Project 1 being the one with the highest priority that needs to be done, that may also have the shortest time frame of completion. And then the second one is second priority, and then medium length in completion. And then project number 3 is a little less priority, still priority over everything else, but it's got a longer time frame. And so I try to get this one done as quickly as possible. This one is also priority, but it's going to take you a little bit longer. And then number 3 is third priority, and this one's going to take you even longer. And mapping it out into like quarter 1 is the first 3 months of the year, quarter 2, second, and then quarter 3 and quarter 4. However many quarters it takes, for the project to be complete. And the first 2 are only 1 quarter projects, and then the third project is a 2 quarter project. So it's going to take 6 months, approximately 6 months to complete. And then having that running task list beside it to just sort of keep me on track, and to be like, you cannot add another project until you have at least one of these completed. And then when you complete that one, then I have to do a review and evaluate the situation and go, is 3 projects still too much for me to handle at once? Or does it seem to be working, and can I handle adding another project now that one of them is complete? And so that is where I'm at on managing these tasks. And like I said, I've already spent the last couple months really diving into task management, project management, and getting things plotted and planned, so that now, as of today, the execution can really go into full effect and actually start getting the ball rolling and getting things checked off the list. And one thing that I also sort of realized, what I've learning through all this too, is that projects have a life cycle, that there should be a beginning and an end to a project. And so, a lot of the times we start a project and we don't give it a due date or an ending date. And so giving it that, like, I need it to be done by this date, or at least hit a milestone. When is this product going to be ready to launch? Or when is this project going to be ready to move into phase 2 or phase 3? And reminding yourself there has to be an end date. Keeping things that are open-ended, it leaves too much room for you to just do whatever, and you get lost in priority. Giving it that due date gives it a priority, and also puts it in that list of priorities of things that need to be done. If the due date isn't until next year, but you have something that has a due date that's next month, obviously the one that has a due date for next month should be done first. And then learning about SMART goals and things like that. So I have a lot of notes in this thing that I've been taking, like I said, with the classes that I've been doing, and learning how to implement it into my own work and preparing to do work for others and stuff like that. This stuff is like so simple, but they don't teach you this stuff in high school. And some of the stuff you teach yourself, and we tend to miss small details along the way, because we're kind of sort of already assume that we should know these things, but then at the same time we don't. And so we have to learned, it's more than just, oh, I read that before or I've seen that before. Yes, but have you actually used it? And so that's where I'm sort of at. And so that's my business management, project management sort of planner binder. And then on my catch-all binder. And then, of course, the notebook that all my random thoughts fall into. Everybody should have a random thoughts notebook. Here is one of my projects, actually, is, which one is this? This one is the business plan. I've been on and off for, this is project number 3, by the way. Project number 3, which is going to take approximately 6 months, according to what they say it should take, is a business plan. And like I said, I've been working on my business plan on and off for a few years now, ever since I've had ideas for a business, but I've never made a 100% formal business plan. And being that I am going to business school, I sort of should know how to make a business plan and have a business plan. And so part of my school and part of my goals and being a business owner and all that stuff is to actually make a real business plan and then hopefully maybe take it to the bank and actually get a real business loan with my business plan. So I'm working on that. And then project number 2 is all of my, like, the writing that I have to do, because I've started it but I haven't finished it, like a lot of things, but like workbooks and things for my clients to be able to use. There's a lot of holes that need to be filled in those areas, so I want to sort of fill in a lot of the holes and a lot of the gaps and get a lot of these workbooks 100% done, and so that way I don't have to worry about it anymore. And so this is project number 2. So project number 1, planner spreads. Project number 2, fill in the holes on the workbook. And then project number 3 is business plan. And then, and then we can move on to other things. And then we can get more stuff done. And I kind of feel like I said, I got 8s all over me this year. And 8 is a great year for hard work, for manifestation, for, just, making it real. Making it real is a great way to think about it. And, for me personally, my vision board is full of, that boss energy. And I know that Boss Babe came off as toxic. It was really big a few years ago and then it died. And everybody's like, oh, Boss Babe. And then last year, a lot of like people on Instagram and TikTok are like, oh, I'm in my soft girl era. And I'm like, that's fine, but soft girl era is not for when you're 22. You should be busting your ass when you're 22. I'm sorry. Soft girl era is for after you have kids and all your kids are grown up and moved out of the house and you've already bought your house and you've already retired and you don't have to worry about building your empire because you already built it and you're already reaping the rewards and you already have your retirement plan and your investments and all that stuff sorted out. Then you can be soft girl. Then you can sit on the beach and enjoy your margaritas and tend to your garden like an old lady. But a 22-year-old woman or a 25-year-old woman is not supposed to be in their soft girl era. I'm sorry. You're supposed to be working and busting your ass to build all that so you can enjoy soft girl era later. And to me, that's just laziness. If you're a young woman that's got a lot of vitality and a lot of life, even if you're not a woman, man, woman, if you are a young person that has vitality still in them and you still have dreams and you still have motivations and you still want a lot of shit, and you just because it's not about getting a job, it's not about working for somebody else, it's about doing the work and building your life and building that egg and building that foundation and getting it all done now while you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s, so that when you get to your 50s and 60s, you can finally take a sigh. That's what retirement is for. It's about the sigh after the hard work. You can say, man, I finally did it. But then you don't have to stop working. Working isn't, you know, working's only miserable if you're doing something that you hate. If you're doing something that you love, it doesn't feel like work. That's how you get into hyper focusing on something until 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 days straight, and then burning yourself out because you actually love it and you're actually passionate about it and you're actually doing something and adding something and giving it to the world. There's been a lot of this negative talk about work. And this, I know that there's a lot of things about the corporate world that needs to be restructured. There are lots of changes that should be made. For example, I have a tattoo on my hand and my fingers and on my chest and stuff like that. And some people say, oh, well, you're never going to be able to get a corporate job because you have tattoos that are visible. I'm sorry. I'm here to break those rules. I'm here to say I might be a little weird, I might be a little eccentric, and I might have tattoos on my hands, but I'm smart and I'm hard worker and I'm capable and I'm talented and I can do everything and anything that you ask me to do. My appearance is clean, it's put together. Yeah, I might have some tattoos, but who cares? Everything else is good. My work ethic, my character, it's all adds up more than just tattoos. Those types of rules should be broken. The idea that we need to work 60 hours a week in order to afford a living, those types of rules should be broken. But this idea of, should we even work at all? That's just laziness. That's just laziness. Of course we need to work. Of course we need to add something to do something with their lives other than, I don't know what you're doing. I know what I'm doing with my life. If you're jealous of somebody who is getting their bag, it's because you're not putting in enough work and focusing on what you're doing, and getting what you want. That's what this year is all about. It's about getting your bag and focusing on yourself. And that's what I'm here to show, is that I've been working. Even if y'all can't see it, maybe one of these days you'll be like, oh wow, what happened? She's making it. She's actually getting her paycheck. She's actually getting her back. Yeah, because I'm going to school, I'm running a business, and I'm working a job all at the same time while raising a family. I'm doing all the things. I don't got time to sit around and just look at my phone all day and make content for you. Sorry to put it that way, but making content for someone to watch for 5 minutes because they're bored and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Sometimes it's very counterintuitive, very, very counterintuitive. It can be that way when it comes to making content for people, because we are making entertainment. And but then when you're making entertainment, you're facilitating someone else's desire to not pursue what it is that they want, because now that they're watching you, they're not doing anything. And I'm trying to get away from watching my phone so much, so you're expecting someone else to do what you're supposed to not be doing. It's counterintuitive. That's why I say it's hard sometimes, especially with someone like me who puts so much energy into what we do, that it can feel very much like the internet is like an energy vampire, and it sucks the energy out of you. And there's so much expectations of what people want. Oh, this person's making a video, but it doesn't have the best lighting. Oh, it's not at that great angle. Oh, they're not using the newest and highest and most expensive equipment. So are they worth my time? Is their thumbnail absolutely on trend right now? Are they worth my time? It's very vain. It's very superficial. And I don't really want to get sucked into the fakeness. I'm here because I want to be of service. I'm here because I want to connect and be a part of the community. I'm here because I want to show you what I'm up to and I want to inspire you and I want to just put out positive energy. I'm not here to impress you with my looks. You know that, yeah, if you're here to be wowed by somebody's looks, you're in the wrong corner of the internet. So anyways, I kind of feel like I went on a little bit of a ramble when it comes to that, but it's relevant. There's a lot of conversation. And it's sort of going into a lot of ideas of where I have for the future of the kind of content that I want to make. Because there's a lot of things that I want to say and a lot of things that I want to talk about. But I don't, because I've sort of put myself in a niche. And I'm like ready to break that niche. I'm ready to be like, I know I've been doing this type of thing for a very long time, and that's always a part of who I am. Like being a spiritual person and being a magical person and a witchy person, astrology girl, like all that is me, and it's never going to change. But there are also other parts of myself that I don't really share as much. And I want to break out of that niche and maybe try to do more, other things. But I can only see what's going to happen. But there is a certain expectation that once people start to see you for one thing, they forget that there's so much more than what you get up front. You only see what's within this tiny little frame for however long I'm sitting here. You don't see what happens once the screen is off, and and that's life. The life is everything that you don't see behind the screen. And there's so many more angles to a person. And I want to see where it goes when I show more angles of myself. And that's why I feel like doing the planning work. It is 1/1 of 2024 and 1/11 and 11/11. Those are great days to work on manifesting. If you haven't done it already, do it today, or at least start it. Your New Year's wish list, your New Year's bucket list, your goals, all that stuff, and just put it out there and see where it goes. Don't put all this pressure on yourself to be perfect. But you'll have to make it known for the universe in order for the magic to work. I mean, honestly, you can't expect the spell to work if you don't ever cast the spell. For me, this is like a spell. This is something that I'm like, hey, universe, this is my plan. Maybe you can get in alignment with that, and I'll be in alignment with that. Get in alignment with what it is that you want, what it is that you want to do, and who it is that you want to be. Set that space for it to bloom. Plant the seed, okay? I think that's really wonderful thing to do on New Year's. And, also the more magical stuff, cleaning out the house, doing a floor wash, smudging, opening up the windows and doors and letting in the New Year's energy in. There's a lot of New Year's magic that you can do to prepare. And we have just begun winter season, and this is a good time to remember that it's not the perfect new year. This is the Capricorn new year. The Aries new year marks the beginning of spring, which astrologically is the new year. And so, and for Chinese it's the Aquarius. So you get different times of new year. This, for me, the Capricorn new year, I consider it, the calendar new year, has a way different energy to it than the Aries new year that marks the spring equinox. That's a totally different feeling than the Capricorn new year. But I like the Capricorn New Year because it has some sort of that seed planting energy, or that you want, in that refreshing moment. And as we move through the winter, that gives us a lot of space to really build and churn, because it's going, if you live in the northern hemisphere, you'll probably be too cold to want to go outside too much. And so it gives us a lot of time to do that work, whatever that work is, to build that foundation, so that we can, so when spring comes, we can finally start to, really get into that warmer weather energy and plant those seeds for manifestation. But I feel like this is a perfect time for manifestation. And I don't know if you noticed, you probably did, but my word of the year is manifestation. That is my word. It seems cheesy. Last year, my word of the year was magical. I don't know if we would say it was magical or not. Maybe a little bit. Because, last year was a 7-year, but also I'm a 7. Somehow, the last few years, I've been very coordinated. 7-year with me 7. And this year is an 8-year with me turning number 8. But also, this year is my destiny year, my destiny number year. So I got the 888. So this year is even more magical. But, the double 7 or the number 7 usually does have sort of like this little bit more of like a lucky draw type of energy to it. Like when you play lottery or slots and you see 777, it's like, won the lottery. And I was hoping for more magic last year. But I was really going through a phase. My Scorpio rising has really been hitting hard. I almost sometimes forget that I'm a Pisces. I've been feeling so much Scorpio. And then this year, with the 8-year, I really felt like the word manifestation was coming through. Especially with the 8 being the infinity number, which, there's so much to that. So the number 8, I wrote power, money, materialistic, authority, leader, business-minded, CEO, hard work, success, realistic, efficient, management, smart, motivated, reaping your rewards, security. Those are a lot of words that are associated with the number 8. And then a quote that I wrote down. It's actually a quote that I had on the wall over there, and I keep meaning to upgrade that vision board, but I haven't done it yet. It's probably been up there for 5 years now. It's the same vision board, but I keep it because I like the quotes. They tend to be motivating for me. But I wrote this one. I've made my sacrifices. I've been the girl with the shitty job and the mediocre life. It's time to fucking shine now. Hashtag boss babe. All right. But like I was saying earlier, that boss babe energy is kind of starting to come back in this year. I kind of feel like this is boss babe energy year. Like the work that has to go into it. Like this year is the time to not mess around. So that's my quote. And then my intentions that I wrote would be to be happy. And that one's funny, actually, because when I went to go write it, my brain was thinking to make it happen. Because I was writing it on a separate piece of paper before I put it in here. I was going to write to make it happen. But for some reason, my hand wrote happy when I meant happen. So I kept it. I was like, for some reason, I think that was what it was meant to be anyways. So to make it happy or to be happy. And I love that because I have to remind myself, sometimes to enjoy life and have fun and to not be so serious. I tend to be a little too serious sometimes. So be happy, have fun, enjoy it, make it fun. To be blown away. That's another one of my intentions. I just want to be blown away. I want the universe to fucking blow my mind this year. I'm ready for some fucking like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. What? That happened? I'm leaving it open for that energy. That like, oh my god, yes, I need some surprises. Some good surprises. And to not be afraid of my own light. I got a lot of fear around showing up for things, you know. I'm not afraid of who I am. I'm not afraid of my own light. I'm afraid to sort of, I guess, let other people see my light. And then, to share my gifts with the world. A lot of imposter syndrome and self sabotage. And, I think everybody sort of deals with that type of stuff. But yeah, I feel like as an artist and an entrepreneur and all these things, I just really, really criticize myself really hard sometimes, and I have to stop doing that because I'm not ashamed of who I am. I just always kind of feel like I have a hard time fitting in and really just being myself. Afraid to be myself and thinking, oh, if I'm myself, people are going to think I'm weird. Like, people don't care about what I care about. People aren't worried about planners. And then you realize that there's an entire planner community out there on YouTube. And you're like, well, I guess I'm not the only one that cares about planners. But it feels like that when you're the only one in your life that's around you that likes planners. When your husband doesn't care, when your kid doesn't care, or none of your friends care that are close to you that care, like nobody cares about this stuff, it makes you feel like you're alone. And every once in a while you have to like realize that there's thousands of other people out there that also like things like planners and stationery and magical stuff. Like, there is so much more out there. So to not be afraid to be who I am so that I can attract the community that I want around me. And another thing is that, like, if you've never filmed a video or recorded yourself before, you probably don't know. But I feel like everybody knows that when you film yourself and you hear your voice, you always go, ooh, that's what I sound like? Oh, I do that. I think a lot of people do that. And so I'm insecure about my voice because I'm like, I can't believe I sound like that. When you listen back to it later, so I'm trying to get over that. I'm trying to get over the like hearing my own voice and stuff like that. So, just being able to share myself and be myself and to not be so insecure about it all the time, worrying about if whether or not someone's going to like me or not. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my stuff. Like I was saying, let me know what your word of the year is, or a quote that inspires you, like one of your intentions. Let me know where you're at. If you're watching this later, let me know if any of this was useful. Oh, and also let me know in the comments about the planner idea, the setup that I showed you. I would like to do a better walkthrough, flip through of them, but like I said, this camera is setup that I have going on right now is not the best, and so maybe later. But do you prefer dated or undated, or do you like the idea of having both options, like an option that has all the dates and the colors, or a plain option with no colors and no dates so that it can be picked up at any time? Let me know if A, B, or C. All right? Which one sounds best? Should I do one, other, or both? It would just be good to get some feedback, because I wouldn't want to put in all the effort of doing both if, It's just going to be a lot more work to do both, but I kind of feel like it would be worth it if I did. And let me know if you like the idea and the design, and if I'm missing something that could be edited or changed. Just let me know, because like I said, I'm making edits now. Now is edit phase. And then once I get the edits and completed and get all that stuff done, then I'll be putting it on my website. It's not ready yet, but it will be soon. As you can see, I got a lot of work that I have to do. And I hope you all are just having a wonderful, amazing time and enjoying this moment. And don't forget to have fun. Don't work too hard. And let's just see where the universe takes us this year. I kind of just want to go for a wild ride. And at the end of the year, next year, I'm going to be looking back like, I can't believe I asked for a wild ride, but I got one. All right. Well, I'm going to let you all go for now. And when I come back, I should be here next Sunday for another episode of Sunday Soul Set. And we will do Sunday Soul Set things, astrology and tarot, and anything else that I inspire to do before at that time. So I hope I see you all then. And you guys all have a wonderful, blessed, magical new year. And I love you all. See you next time. Bye.